All right. So I did a talk earlier where I was talking to somebody about, it was a non-vegan talking about how they try to do some vegan options here and there, but that they're interested in, um, trying to do grass-fed and free range and that kind of thing to cut back on supporting factory farms. So, anyways, during that call, I called a restaurant that they go to. They live in Portland, which is like an hour from me. Anyways, I called them and asked, and it turns out that that place they had like free range grass-fed lamb, but everything else they had was factory farmed. So, anyways, I think that inspired some ideas in him, and I know a lot of people don't like the idea of something being of like being accepting of something that's free range or grass fed, but I think it's important to recognize any steps that are better than other steps. So especially because I was watching Dominion specifically to talk with this guy about it, and watching the details of what happens to the pigs in Dominion, it's just depressing. And knowing that like another farm that's going to kill pigs will treat them so much better than a typical factory farm. And so, even if some places can get away with having a certain label, but they're not actually making changes, I think it's worth the people that are going to continue to eat animals, if they're willing to make these changes. Then I think that's good. And so, anyways, I plan on calling a lot of different companies, not necessarily today, but I want to call some clothing stores to see if they carry anything that has fur, and because I think that that could be worth a boycott of sorts until they don't carry fur anymore. I'm kind of torn on that one, but I think I want to do that. I want to call some stores, like some local restaurants and whatnot, to see which ones have vegan options. That way I can compile a list for people in the town I'm in and some people in other towns of what places do and don't have vegan options. But I also want to find out which places do and don't have like grass fed, free range, all this kind of stuff. That way, if I convince somebody to change their actions in that way, um, that yeah, they can have help in that sense, but also that they can see like this person that has ethical ideas that wants to treat animals better isn't going to be an all or nothing, like you have to do this way. It can be any idea that that is good is good. Every little bit of good is good. If you can, donate $10 to some good organization, donating a quarter is still good. I mean, there could be ways that it's not good. Like for example, the cost to ship a quarter if you're actually like mailing a quarter into somebody. But yeah, like I don't know if it. Anyways, um, a good act is a good act. A good outcome's a good outcome, and every little bit kind of counts. Now my phone might die soon, so who knows if this will cut off. I got my headphones up here looking like Hellboy because it's hard to have headphones on and make a call, and I won't need them for the call. Just if somebody comes in on the stream, I'd need them. But I'm used to having them on, so I'm leaving them on. But anyways, I'm gonna give this a call. It does say text, but so I'm gonna call this farm called Mount Hope Heritage Farm, pasture raised with love, heritage bred pork. Um, so I'm gonna call them up and ask them some questions. You know what? I'm going to read this real quick, actually. We are a closed herd. No live animals are brought to our farm for biosecurity reasons without a 90-day quarantine. It is our belief that closed herd systems improve uh, gilt acclimation and stabilization herd immunity, as well as many typical swine diseases. With the widespread distribution of porcine reproductive respiratory syndrome, PRRS virus, many small homestead farms are closing their herds for risk management and health improvement. Besides, who would want pork from a sick pig? Question mark. No, thanks, not for us. Okay. Due to not wanting to vaccinate our meat hogs, we are extremely sorry, but we do not allow tours of our farm. Oh, dang it. Okay, that was the main reason I was going to call them because I want to go to farms and kind of film what's going on. I guess they don't have um, tours of the farm. Okay, let me try this other place. Okay, website. I like the Princess Leia look. Why, thank you, Garland. I don't know if you heard that thing I just listed, but that sounded like something right up your alley. Just kind of a farm that does all their raising and their separating based on immunity and whatnot. Yeah. Also, if anybody's ever on Garland's page, he has a link in the corner of his channel that takes you to regenerative farm type thing. Anyways, I'm fully in favor of that. I think it's great compared to what most people do, and it could, who knows, maybe it could be the right way all around. Okay, so I found this thing. I think it might be in Salem, Oregon, which is where I live, and it's called Ballantine Learning Farm for parents, camps, photo galleries. I saw that there's animals, so that's the main thing I wanted to call and check on. I think it's great to take people to all kinds of farms, especially a learning farm. That's awesome. But to take people to like what's it called, sanctuaries. So people, I mean, for one, it's good just if the animals are going to be there anyways. It's nice to see them as long as they're not being shown on display in some weird way. Where like zoos, I think, aren't the best. But if you have a sanctuary where they're just doing their thing and you can happen to watch from afar, I think it's good. Take vegans to it, but especially to take non-vegans to it. People that eat animals, to have them like see the animals. And yeah, it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to take a group of people, like maybe half of you are vegans, half are not vegans, and you're hanging out and they get to like pet these cows and look into their eyes and then go out to lunch right afterward and see if they're like unable to eat a burger because of it. Now, it might be because of how we're conditioned and whatnot. I'm sure if somebody's hungry enough, they're going to do whatever they're going to do. But I think when you have a wild amount of options of food, and especially if you're a person that's used to eating beef, but you don't see cows all the time, seeing that could change things. Like I'm trying to just be as honest as possible and recognize that that doesn't mean everything, like the fact that that would happen. But it would be interesting. It would mean a little bit of something. Okay, I'm trying to find a phone number for these guys. Oh, is this in Portland? Salem? Oh, there's two. Okay, mailing address is in Portland. The farm address is in Salem. Cool. Okay, I'm going to call this place real quick, and hopefully my phone doesn't die. I shouldn't have set up this thing where I'm going to make phone calls, and my phone is pretty much dead. But I did it anyways. 6284 call. Weird. Okay. Well, anyways, I'm going to keep that on file. I'm going to keep both those on file. I'd like to call them and check more of that out. Okay, so while I'm here, yeah. Do anybody watching that has seen any recent videos? Does anybody have any questions? I like challenge. What on earth am I watching? This is so cool. um, Jeremy, some people don't even know what the difference between a farm and a sanctuary are. So that's a great way to start the conversation. Yeah, no, good point. Yeah, Brittany, Transhuman, I see you in here. And the first place I was actually going to call was going to be the wildlife reserve because we had talked about that a while back, that if you see an animal, should you put it out of its misery if an animal's dying? and I was going to call and see if they had recommendations for when it's reasonable to call the wildlife reserve, so they could is it preserve reserve anyway, so they could come get the wild animal and help it if they thought it was necessary. That way I could have the information on which animals to do that with. But it turns out that the only one of those near my area actually closed down recently. So there's basically no place within my area that wildlife can be taken to. But I wouldn't mind calling for different areas. I'm just mostly calling places right now in my area. So yeah, anyways. But I just was calling a couple places, and my phone ended up dying actually. The video, there you go. But yeah, I'm actually gonna hop off here in a sec. I was just gonna do this for a couple calls and then call it good. But I would give you my city, but the people would know where I live. But yeah, anyway, so if anybody has any questions, I like hearing challenges from previous talks I've had. And also, if anybody wants to hop in here, I can send a link, and you can click on it and come in here and chat if anybody wants to challenge some ideas, because I've been talking a lot about definition of veganism changing and various different things. I had the debate with Vegan Gains about pet ownership and about the predator culling. Let's see. But yeah, so if anybody had any thoughts before I hop off here, I could answer some questions. Jeremy, the questions I was referring to, no, it'd be more so if somebody wanted to ask me questions. It wouldn't be questions I would be asking. Are all factories sanctuaries vegan? Oh, that'd be interesting. Like if a sanctuary for animals was somehow not a vegan sanctuary, like maybe if a sanctuary that was taking in animals that needed help, like used chicken eggs and sold them or something, would that make it? Or if they gave them away, yeah, that'd be interesting. I think it's a complicated topic. If the chickens were bred to lay so many eggs that it was unnatural, that it was causing harm, we could figure out if it would be better for the chicken to be euthanized versus just kept around. If you're keeping it around and it's laying eggs, then you got to figure out, is it best for it to like eat its own eggs? Because I heard that's a thing. If it wasn't best for it to eat its own eggs and the egg is there no matter what and there's no roosters, even though I'm pretty sure, well, it's thought of that eggs are healthy for you, and also some people say they're not. But anyways, for a sanctuary to give out free eggs, or even to sell eggs from chickens from a sanctuary, that would obviously be a vegan route to go, I would think, because it would be causing less demand for the factory farmed eggs. So it's interesting, worth thinking about, but it's complicated. Garland says, did you know that Earthling Ed receives funding from a corporation that sells pesticides that kill as many animals that are going that they're going extinct? I see. Yeah, I saw you talk about this in one of your videos, and I completely disagree with you, or at least at the moment. Receiving money from a company is just receiving money from a company. So I guess I would want to know what bad is happening aside from that support. So if Earthing Ed, a company gives him money, and then he can use that money to do whatever he does, travel and do vegan-y things, is the company benefiting from Earthling Ed taking the money? Does he promote their company? I guess that's what I would want to know. I like any company. I don't care. Tyson, the meat company, could send me money because they want to support me or something. I'm not going to say, oh, you kill animals, I'm not going to take your money. I don't know if you accept money and use that money to do a good thing. Is it bad that you're accepting it? Now, if you accept money because you're doing an ad and you're talking people into doing a certain thing, I'd see a complication there. But yeah, so I'd be curious to hear that thought. All right, Brittany, I will see you later. Garland Farm. Oh, okay. I'm gonna skip over that. Does the sanctuary promote veganism? If not, why? Well, I mean, so a sanctuary promotes the idea of an animal being um, captured and in a certain spot. Um, I don't know what the alternative is. I think euthanizing animals and ending like the human domestication of animals is better than like what we currently have. But if we aren't able to outlaw owning animals and we have an option to put these animals down versus letting them in a sanctuary, it might be better to leave them in a sanctuary. It really depends on if it encourages bad habits. If people go to a sanctuary to see these animals and then they see some bunnies or something and then they're like, oh, I want a bunny. And then they go buy a bunny. So it's complicated. But yeah. Um, RC says, when I talk to Vegan Gains, I need to mention mention his frog face. Yes, I will. Donate it to animal rights. Oh, like if a sanctuary can make money off of the sanctuary to donate it to animal rights? Yeah, probably. Garland says, look for this headline. The Northland Corp protection market is driven by the increased demand for plant-based diets, and veganism continues to gain popularity. All right, I'll look into that when I get a chance. Let's see. Is driven by the increased demand of plant-based, and veganism continues to gain popularity. Yeah, so that's tricky. You're talking about the idea of crop deaths and issues with pesticides and whatnot based on the popularity of veganism. So first of all, I would wonder like what's worse, that or popularity of consuming like factory farm stuff. So like in my mind, I'd like the idea of everybody to go vegan, and hopefully we could work towards a world where things are more organic and whatnot. And in your mind, it would be more of the what's it called, the regenerative farm stuff. So both of what we want is such a small amount of people, and like hardly anybody's doing it. So there's a negative outcome for either one. And what you, I believe, said yesterday you want with the plant type situation is just for people to like grow it locally and share with each other. So yeah, no, I like your idea. I like my idea. I like my idea a little better, but I like both of the ideas. But either way, like if veganism gets more popular and there's more crop deaths, and there's these pesticides, there's that issue. But if veganism doesn't become more popular, then there's the factory farmed issue. So and that also has a certain amount of pesticide crops. Anyways, so figuring out whatever a right mixture might be is interesting. But yeah. Let's see. Let me get you. Okay. What are your thoughts on vertical farming? I don't really know much about vertical farming. I know Garland has a video countering vertical farming, so I'm curious to see that. I think with any topic, it's good to know all the sides. I mean, in a lot of cases with arguments, it's not best to appeal to nature for the answer of the argument, but as far as figuring out what's likely right or not, I mean, it's going to come down to studies. So finding out if humans can be perfectly healthy without animal products is going to come down to studies. It's not going to come down to the fact of we're most similar to chimpanzees. So if we didn't have the ability to design food the way we do and grow food the way we do, would we eat like them, which would mean that we would eat insects and other monkeys and stuff like that. And so we don't need to perfectly appeal to nature, but there's a lot of reasons why more natural things end up being healthier, like breastfeeding's healthier than formula and all these different things. So the idea of vertical farming, if part of the problem might have to do with how natural something is. So if something grows out of the ground and you have this soil, and the soil has various things like when you make compost, you take your food scraps and you put it in your compost. And well, for those of you that have a garden and do this, it turns into soil. The worms go through and do all their thing, and then you have this like very nutritious soil, and this is good. And so the more you get away from a natural way to grow things being a certain distance from the sun, all this kind of stuff, I could see some issues. I don't know much about vertical farming at all. I don't know if there's like much soil used. But depending on like what the like the building is made out of, or the products, like whatever makes it vertical, if is it made out of wood, is the wood treated with chemicals, is it made out of plastics, is it like a food grade plastic? There's all these different things that we find out over time, that different things cause issues. Before we knew that lead being in like leaded gasoline or paint or all these different things, we didn't realize the harm it was causing. Once we found out, then we removed the lead. And so there might be a whole bunch of things that we figure out, new inventions, and we find out over time that they might not be the best. Figuring out how to can food is this amazing thing, and we figured out how to preserve food for so long. But it took a while to realize what was happening with the BPA leaching into the food and being really bad for us. And then now we have BPA-free cans. And so I don't know what to say exactly about the vertical farming, but I think we should constantly be working towards innovations that improve our society, and yeah, so on and so forth. Let's see. Nikki says, been watching since most of the Dominion one. Oh, 3 streams in one day. Yeah. Yeah. With the Dominion one, I'm not sure if you caught when I was called that restaurant, but that's something I've been wanting to do for a while. So the only reason I have this third one going is I thought I would do that for a sec, but my phone was dying, and so it didn't work out. And now I'm just answering a couple questions. But there's going to be a good talk tomorrow. So tomorrow in the morning, I'll be talking to Michael McCaffrey, and I'm not sure exactly what time, but at 5 p.m. PST, I'll be talking with Michael and Garland Farms together, and that'll be a fun one. Hopefully it'll be streaming over here, but depending on some details, it might only be streaming on Garland's page. But we'll figure it out, and I'll post it either way. I might be able to stream it and just not interact if I have to do it through OBS. But anyways, so keep an eye out for that. And then Jerem Eubanks, for anybody, if you don't know him, follow him. And if you do know him, I'll be chatting with him about my thoughts on the definition of veganism. And that will be on Monday morning at 9 a.m. PST. So, let's see. Jeremy said that's the dumbest argument against veganism that even growing plants can be a result of incidental harm in animals. Of course, the incidental, not integral, we can reduce it. That's talking to Garland. Garland said, you said Earthling Ed's not promoting the pesticides, but veganism increases the use of pesticides. That's the point. He's not just taking money from the pesticides company. First of all, I just want to point out, I didn't say that he's not promoting the pesticides. I was wondering if he was. But yes, he's promoting the veganism. Now, promoting something and then somebody doing a version of that could cause harm is like, I could promote veganism, and then the person that goes vegan that has their own farm decides not to farm animals anymore, and they only like grow food, and they eat all their own food they grow, and they don't use pesticides or something. That could come from promoting veganism. But also promoting veganism, somebody could go and just eat vegan donuts and cake and vegan hot dogs, and that could be bad for their health or whatever. Certain veganism would lead to certain crop deaths, and other ones wouldn't. So anyways, I think accepting money from a company and then that company is connected to some pesticides. I don't see the issue. I would need to hear a little more there. Um, let's see. Replacing all crops with vertical farming would require over 9 million 100-story skyscrapers, 100 meters times 100 meters. Lots of lights and air conditioners and water pumps, electricity, and okay, yeah. I don't know. I don't know the details. Let's see. Shoot, I missed that call. That would have been sweet to watch. Yeah, it wasn't anything too fancy. It's just the guy I was talking to that I was watching Dominion with. Essentially, he thinks the world should be vegan. He thinks there should be laws saying that you can't sell meat. So people, if they are going to have meat, they have to do their own hunting or butchering or whatever themselves. And but he currently eats animal products. But anyways, we were talking about like grass-fed and free range versus factory farm stuff. And he lives about an hour from me in Portland, Oregon. I had him tell me a restaurant that he goes to, and then I called them while we were on the live stream and asked them if any of their meat was from free range grass-fed farms, and they said that the lamb was, but everything else was factory farmed. So anyways, that just inspired me to do some more calls. And I'll probably set up different streams, maybe one a week or something, where I just like make like 10 calls like that, and maybe put together a website that will show people where they can find certain things. RC says, when's the next talk with Vegan Gains? Did you address his pets on the vegan diet yet? Yeah, when I did that talk, he was saying that it should be law that you can only feed pets vegan food, which is interesting. Now that I think of it, it would have to be something where vegan pet food that's sold would have to be the only pet food sold, but then you could still buy animal products and feed them. And a lot of people would probably do that. Like you just feed them whatever you buy for your own family. And so I don't know if that would get away from the issue. But a friend of mine, Michael McCaffrey, showed me some information. I haven't read the whole study, but he showed me something from a study that was showing they compared regular dog food to like a raw meat dog food versus vegan dog food. And I think they might have done the same with cats. And I guess it turned out that it actually is pretty darn healthy for them. I'd want to look at the study, and I'd want there to be more studies, but it seems pretty promising. So maybe vegan pet food is the way to go. Why aren't vegans infiltrating crop agriculture so that they can reduce animal suffering? Yeah. No, I agree. It blows my mind. It really should be a push. So vegans, as far as pushing their own, like what they're currently doing for themselves, which would be no meat, dairy, eggs, leather, fur, that kind of stuff. The next push for what they personally do themselves should be trying to get away from pesticides and anything that causes crop deaths. Finding veganic farming in their area, all this kind of stuff. I totally agree. I think it blows my mind, and I hope that people start focusing on it more. All right. But did you address the health of it though? Yeah. It was saying that that there was health benefits from eating the vegan pet food. But yeah. Okay. I'm gonna hop off here, but I'm gonna post a thing in the community section, looking for recommendations for places I should call. I was thinking about calling places like Nike and various different things to find out which products are vegan or not, and finding out which stores, like individual stores, like a Nordstrom's or a JCPenney or whatever, like which ones like sell fur and stuff like that. Because I think when vegans want to figure out places to boycott or things to be the next thing on the list to try to keep making steps in the right direction, I like the idea of compiling lists like that And there might already be a list like that somewhere. I'm just not aware of it. But anyways, if you go into the community section, you can. I'm going to post a thing, and then you can share ideas of places you think I should call to ask them vegan-related questions. Awesome. Okay, good talking, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.